Hello, my dear friends. Today, I'm going to share a simple and heartwarming story, a story anyone can read and understand, no matter their age or background. This story revolves around a young boy named Arjun and his journey to discover the secrets of keeping himself happy. It's a tale filled with lessons, emotions, and the beauty of everyday life. Happiness is something we all strive for, but it often feels like an elusive treasure hidden in the corners of our lives. Through Arjun's experiences, we'll see that happiness isn't about waiting for something extraordinary to happen. It's about appreciating the small, ordinary moments and learning to nurture joy within ourselves. Let's dive into Arjun's story and learn how he found his happiness in the most unexpected ways. The story of Arjun and the magic of everyday happiness. Arjun was an 11-year-old boy living in a small, picturesque village surrounded by lush green hills and a river that sparkled like diamonds under the sun. He loved his home, his friends, and the adventures he had each day. But lately, he'd felt a strange heaviness in his heart. One day, as he sat by the riverbank with his best friend Rohan, Arjun sighed deeply. "What's wrong, Arjun?" asked Rohan, noticing the gloomy look on his friend's face. "I don't know, Rohan," Arjun replied, skipping a pebble across the water. "I just feel empty. It's like I'm missing something, but I don't know what it is." Rohan thought for a moment and then said, "You're always trying to do so much: studies, chores, and even helping everyone in the village. Maybe you need to do something for yourself, something that makes you happy." Arjun nodded, but the question lingered. What would make me happy? A chance encounter. The next day, Arjun was wandering through the village when he saw an old man sitting under a banyan tree. The man had a kind face, and his eyes twinkled with wisdom. He was reading a book with a bright yellow cover that read, "The Art of Everyday Joy." Curious, Arjun approached the man. "Hello, sir. What are you reading?" he asked. The old man looked up and smiled. "Ah, young one, this is a book about happiness. It reminds me of things we often forget in our busy lives." Arjun's eyes lit up. "Can you teach me how to be happy? I've been feeling lost lately." The man chuckled. "Happiness isn't something I can give you, my boy, but I can share stories and lessons that might help you discover it for yourself. Would you like to join me here every day and learn?" Arjun eagerly agreed. The lessons begin. Each afternoon, Arjun met the old man under the banyan tree, and the man shared a new story or lesson. Lesson 1. The Beauty of Gratitude. "Close your eyes, Arjun," the old man said one day. "Think of 5 things that made you smile this morning." Arjun thought hard. The sunrise, my mother's smile, the sweet smell of the jasmine flowers, Rohan's joke, and oh, the taste of mangoes we had at breakfast. The old man nodded. You see, happiness often hides in plain sight. When we learn to appreciate the little things, our hearts feel lighter. Arjun started keeping a small notebook where he wrote down his favorite moments each day. Slowly, he began to notice beauty in the simplest things: a bird's song, the cool breeze, or even the laughter of children playing in the distance. Lesson 2. The Magic of Giving. One rainy afternoon, the old man told Arjun, "True joy often comes from making others happy." Arjun decided to test this. He shared his lunch with a hungry dog, helped an elderly neighbor carry her water pot, and even gave his favorite book to a friend who needed it. The smiles he received in return filled his heart with warmth he hadn't felt before. Lesson 3. Loving Yourself. "Arjun," said the old man one day, "you're kind to everyone around you, but are you kind to yourself?" This question surprised Arjun. He realized he often criticized himself for small mistakes and rarely took time to relax or enjoy his hobbies. The old man encouraged him to treat himself with the same kindness he showed others. Arjun began to paint again, something he hadn't done in years. He also started taking quiet walks, listening to his favorite music, and forgiving himself when he stumbled. The transformation over weeks and months, Arjun's life transformed. His friends and family noticed the change. He laughed more, worried less, and carried a sense of peace wherever he went. One day, as he sat under the banyan tree with the old man, Arjun said, "I think I've found my happiness. It was never something outside of me. It was always here. I just had to learn to see it." The old man smiled. "You've discovered the secret, Arjun. Happiness isn't a destination. It's a journey, and it's made up of the small, beautiful steps we take every day." Conclusion. Arjun's story reminds us that happiness is not a grand prize waiting at the end of a race. It's the smile we share, the moment we pause to appreciate nature, or the kindness we extend to ourselves and others. So, my dear friends, let's learn from Arjun. Let's cherish the little things, nurture our passions, and spread joy wherever we go. Happiness is already within us. We just need to let it shine. The journey beyond. Arjun's journey didn't stop at understanding these lessons. It evolved as he began to share what he learned with others in the village. The old man encouraged him to spread his newfound wisdom, reminding him that happiness multiplies when shared. One morning, Arjun gathered the children in the village under the same banyan tree where he had learned so much. "I want to tell you all a story," he said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. The children sat in a circle, their faces eager with curiosity. "Once I felt lost and empty," Arjun began. "I thought happiness was something I had to find, like treasure hidden in the forest. But then I met a wise man who taught me that happiness isn't something you find. It's something you create every day." The children listened intently as Arjun shared the lessons he had learned. He told them about gratitude, the joy of giving, and the importance of loving oneself. Building a happiness club. Inspired by Arjun's stories, the children decided to create a happiness club. They would meet every week to share what made them happy and come up with ideas to spread joy in the village. One week, they planted flowers along the dusty paths to brighten the village. Another week, they collected toys and clothes for children in a nearby town. They even organized storytelling evenings where everyone in the village could gather, laugh, and bond. The village began to change. The air seemed lighter, the laughter louder, and the bonds between neighbors stronger. The return of the wise man. One evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, the old man visited the Happiness Club's gathering. He watched quietly as Arjun stood before the group, now a confident young leader. After the meeting, the old man approached Arjun and placed a hand on his shoulder. "You've done well, my boy. You've not only found your happiness, but also become a light for others. Remember, this journey never ends. Keep learning, growing, and sharing." Arjun smiled. "I will, sir. Thank you for everything." Years later. As time passed, Arjun grew up, but he never forgot the lessons he had learned under the banyan tree. He became a teacher, dedicating his life to nurturing joy and curiosity in the hearts of children. Whenever his students felt lost or unhappy, he would tell them about his own journey, starting with the words, "Hello, my dear friends." His stories became a tradition, and his lessons rippled far beyond the walls of his classroom. Happiness spread like sunshine, warming everyone it touched. Final reflections. Happiness is not a single act or moment. It's a way of living, a mindset that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. Arjun's story teaches us that the journey to happiness is simple enough for a child to understand, yet profound enough to last a lifetime. So, dear reader, As you close this story, remember, happiness begins with you. Like Arjun, you have the power to create it, nurture it, and share it with the world. Let your own journey begin today. The legacy of the banyan tree years turned into decades, and Arjun's village grew, not just in size, but in spirit. The banyan tree where it all began became a symbol of joy and wisdom for the community. People from neighboring towns visited to hear about the legendary Happiness Club and to sit under the tree that had witnessed so many transformations. Arjun, now an elder himself, often sat under the tree, surrounded by children and adults alike. He would begin every session with the same warm words. "Hello, my dear friends. Let me tell you a story." His voice carried the same warmth and hope it always had, and his stories continued to inspire. The new generation one day, a little boy named Arav approached Arjun. Arav had big, curious eyes and a frown that seemed far too heavy for someone so young. "Grandpa Arjun," Arav began hesitantly, "how do I stop feeling sad all the time? I try to be happy, but it just doesn't work." Arjun looked at the boy thoughtfully and said, "Arav, happiness is like a garden. It needs care, patience, and the right seeds. Would you like me to show you how to plant your garden of joy?" Arav nodded eagerly. Over the next few weeks, Arjun guided Arav, just as the old man had guided him years ago. He taught him to notice the little things, to find beauty in simplicity, and to give freely without expecting anything in return. The wisdom lives on Arav, much like young Arjun, embraced these lessons with enthusiasm. He started helping his classmates with their studies, brought food for stray animals, and even organized a small group of friends to visit lonely elders in the village. Before long, Arav became known as the little sunshine of the village. His laughter was infectious, and his acts of kindness inspired others to follow suit. Arjun watched with pride as the next generation carried forward the torch of happiness. The passing of the torch one quiet evening, Arjun sat under the banyan tree alone, reflecting on his life. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the ground. He smiled to himself, content in the knowledge that the seeds he had planted had blossomed into a forest of joy. As the stars began to twinkle in the sky, Arav and a group of children approached. "Grandpa Arjun," Arav said, his voice soft but steady, "will you tell us one more story?" Arjun chuckled. "My dear boy, you already know all the stories. But let me tell you this, never stop learning, never stop sharing, and never stop spreading happiness. This world is a better place when we help each other see its beauty." The children listened intently, their faces glowing with admiration. They knew that Arjun's words were not just advice, they were a way of life, the eternal tree. When Arjun passed away many years later, the entire village gathered under the banyan tree to celebrate his life. They didn't mourn his loss. Instead, they shared stories of his kindness, his wisdom, and the happiness he had brought to countless lives. The banyan tree became more than just a symbol. It became a living legacy. Children carved their names into its bark. Adults held meetings beneath its shade, and travelers rested under its sprawling branches. It was said that anyone who spent time under the tree left with a lighter heart and a brighter spirit. The never-ending story. Though Arjun was no longer there to tell his stories, his voice lived on in the hearts of those he had touched. Arav, now an elder himself, often sat under the banyan tree, surrounded by a new generation of curious, eager faces. "Hello, my dear friends," Arav would begin, his voice steady and warm. "Let me tell you a story." And so the cycle continued. The lessons of happiness, gratitude, kindness, and self-love passed from one generation to the next. Like a flame that never faded, The banyan tree stood tall and proud, a silent witness to the endless journey of happiness that had begun with one boy's simple wish to feel whole again. Final words. Dear reader, as you close this story, remember that the journey to happiness is not one you take alone. It is a journey shared with every person you touch, every kindness you offer, and every smile you create. Let your life be like the banyan tree, rooted in love, spreading joy, and offering shade to those in need. Because in the end, happiness isn't just about you. It's about the world you help make brighter. And just like Arjun, may your story of happiness never truly. The village of Light Arjun's village, now known as Sukgram, the village of happiness, became a beacon of joy and hope. People from all over the region traveled there to learn about the secret to happiness. They came with questions in their hearts. How do we find joy? How do we heal from sadness? How do we live a life full of meaning? The villagers welcomed these visitors with open arms. Each person in Sukgram felt it was their duty to share the wisdom passed down from Arjun and the wise old man who had once sat under the banyan tree. The happiness festival Arav, now an elder much like Arjun had been, decided to create an annual tradition called the Happiness Festival. The festival wasn't about grand celebrations, but about reconnecting with life's simple pleasures. The festival featured activities like gratitude circles, where people shared stories of moments that made them smile, kindness challenges, where participants completed acts of kindness anonymously and left notes about their experiences, reflection workshops, where individuals learned to forgive themselves and embrace their unique journeys, storytelling evenings, where tales of joy, resilience, and love were shared under the banyan tree. During the festival, laughter echoed through the village, and visitors left with lighter hearts and renewed spirits. The Book of Joy. One day, a young traveler named Maya arrived in Sutgram. She was a writer seeking inspiration for her next book. When she heard the villagers' stories about Arjun, Arav, and the banyan tree, she was deeply moved. Maya approached Arav and asked, "Would you allow me to write about your village's journey? The world needs to hear these lessons." Arav smiled. "Happiness isn't something to be kept hidden, Maya. If you can share it with the world, then do so." With Arav's blessing, Maya spent months in Sukgram, documenting the villagers' experiences, the wisdom of Arjun, and the transformative power of joy. Her book, The Eternal Banyan, A Journey to Happiness, became a global phenomenon, touching lives far beyond the borders of the little village. A new wave of seekers. The fame of the banyan tree and Sukgram attracted a new wave of visitors, families, teachers, artists, and even leaders seeking to understand the magic of happiness. They didn't come to take something away. They came to give and to learn. Workshops were organized to help people incorporate the lessons into their own communities. The spirit of Sukgram began to ripple outward, inspiring others to create their own villages of light in cities, towns, and neighborhoods around the world. The Young Dreamer. One day, a little girl named Anaya approached Arav. She was shy, clutching a small notebook to her chest. "Grandpa Arav," she said softly, "I want to write stories like Arjun did, stories that make people happy." Arav's eyes glistened. "Then you must write, Anaya. Start with your own story. What makes you happy?" Anaya thought for a moment, drawing pictures of my family, listening to the birds sing, and helping my little brother with his homework. Arav nodded. "There you go. That's your beginning. Happiness starts with the simple things." Anaya began writing her stories, and soon other children followed her lead. The young ones of Sukgram became storytellers, artists, and creators of joy. ensuring that the lessons of happiness would never fade. A message to the world decades later, a plaque was placed under the banyan tree. It read, "Happiness is not a destination. It is a journey made of small steps, shared laughter, and kind hearts." May this tree remind you that joy is within you, always. People from all over the world would visit the banyan tree, sit in its shade, and leave with a renewed sense of purpose. Some left notes, some sang songs, and some simply closed their eyes and let the wisdom of the place fill their hearts. The never-ending circle, Sukgram's legacy continued to grow, not because of fame or wealth, but because its people understood one simple truth. Happiness is a gift we give to ourselves and to one another. And so, dear reader, as you finish this story, remember that you are now part of this never-ending circle. Carry the lessons of Arjun, Arav, and the banyan tree with you. Share them with those you love, those you meet, and those who might need a little light in their lives. May your life, like Sukgram, become a village of happiness where joy blooms endlessly. If you like the story, please subscribe the channel.